I know there's other activities taking place and you could have been there, but you chose to be here. So thank you all. I'd like to also start by thanking our ancestors for being with us and supporting us, all our ancestors together. So thank you for that. And you're all welcome. Today, I'm just going to go through briefly about the school, and then my Hattini will go over what the school is about, and then we'll start the lecture. So my name is Carnefa, and I am an initiate of the Earth Centre. I initiated in 2016, and yeah, it was an accomplishment for me. But the school was founded by Nebnaba Namosa Big, and he founded it in 1996. He got permission from the elders and from the villages in Merita, West Africa, to bring this knowledge here. This school is a school of spirituality and philosophy. And with that in mind, I have to ask you to keep your minds open today so that you can receive the information that we are giving you. So, yes, he founded the Earth Centre in 1996. The first school was opened in Chicago in 1998. We have various schools in Manu, which is USA. We have Chicago, Baltimore, Houston, Texas, and I think there's one more. One more school, New Jersey. New Jersey. Yeah, thank you. And we also have two schools in London, which is this. We're in the UK, which is this school and Coventry as well. So they're doing orientation, which is having new initiates in on the 22nd of this month in Coventry. So without further ado, I'll bring on my brother, Kellyman, to state what the school goes through.
Wow.
First of all, give thanks to your ancestors for bringing you in. Give thanks to my ancestors for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. Give thanks to Master Nebnaba Lamusa Denabig for this opportunity. Yeah, basically, there's 3 classes that we give. But before we get to that, and there's also 3 branches of the Earth Centre. But just to give you a little idea about the Dogon, about the history of the Dogon. The Dogon were represented, really, the Dogon are a bloodline. You've all probably heard about the Dogon from Mali. But really, the Dogon are all over West Africa, really. They're in places like Burkina Faso, they're even in Ghana as well, and Nigeria. All over West Africa, not just Mali. And the Dogon represented the upper echelon of society. They were the very best priests back in the Pharaonic period, over 2,000 years ago. They were the very best priests, the very best blacksmiths, astronomers, healers, and they were really the Dogon are a bloodline of people. So you'd have a bloodline of, the very best priests, a bloodline of the very best healers, a bloodline of the very best blacksmiths, So they represented a bloodline. So to give you a brief history, during the time, we all know that Kemet or ancient Egypt was, if you don't know, I'm telling you, that it was really the fountain of knowledge in throughout the whole world about 3,000 years ago. Everyone traveled to learn from what we call, you might refer to them as the ancient Egyptians, but we refer to them as the Cometians, or we refer to the area as Kemet and not ancient Egypt. So everyone travelled to this area, you know, trying to learn this knowledge. The reputation of them, the pyramids that they built, the temples that they built, you know, and everyone wanted a piece of that knowledge. So, and there was a lot of jealous people out there as well. So people travel for thousands of miles to study under them, but also people travel with bad intention as well. So Egypt also, or Kemet, also got invaded by, there was a series of invasions, first of all by the Hyksos people, around about 1800 BCE. Then there was an invasion by the Persians. I'm getting that right, yeah, the Persians around about 500 BC. And then there was an invasion by the Greeks. People say that the Greeks were allowed, but there's really an invasion going on there, or there's some sort of manipulation. They certainly weren't welcome like that. And then also by the Romans, about 30 BC, around about that time, and also by the Arabs later on in 642 ACE. But during that time, at some point in that time, the Dogon said, look, you know, even the Pharaoh at the time said, look, we need to preserve this knowledge because they're coming in, they're coming to take the knowledge, they're coming into, they're occupying. They didn't just invade, they occupied the area. So the Pharaoh said, we need to preserve this knowledge. So they said to the Dogon, right, you go out there and you, just leave to preserve the knowledge. You find a place and keep the knowledge, hold the knowledge in secret. So then they traveled to West Africa, where they preserved the knowledge, and they preserved the knowledge in the bushes, in the initiation camps of West Africa. So for 2,000 years, over 2,000 years, 2,000, 3,000 years, this knowledge has been preserved in secret. And we're talking about the knowledge that the scientists and engineers today can't fathom. They can't fathom it. You know, in this society, we talk about progress, but the madness that's going on around here, I don't call that progress. That's not my progress. You know, you can leave that if I, that's your progress anyway. So, but when you can see that scientists and engineers today can't work out how they built the pyramids and temples, they can't do it. And the last people to try to attempt to do it were the Japanese back in 1978. And they tried all sorts of methods trying to build this pyramid up, all sorts of things. They tried to use conventional methods, or what they thought was conventional methods, but they couldn't do it. So in the end, they ended up using cranes and all sorts of modern machinery to try to do it. Couldn't do it. Just collapsed, boom. Couldn't do it. In the end, they just... let's not talk about it. And that's why I just went off inside. So I'm just saying that just to give you an idea of how precious the knowledge is. Because I often feel like I need to remind people about what this is. And this is authentic Kemetic knowledge. Because with all knowledge, you need to be able to trace where the sources come from. And this knowledge has been carried down from the bloodline, from the Naba bloodline. Because Naba is a bloodline. It's come down from the Naba bloodline, from father to son, from mother to daughter, over generations. So they can trace these roots right back to the time of the pharaohs. That's where you know you get authentic knowledge, where you can trace it back. Okay, so just to give you an idea of that. Okay, so as I said, there's 3 branches. There's the 3 branches of 3 classes. First, I'll start off with the branches. We have Firefly Productions, and where we do publications like magazines, DVDs, CDs, posters, commandment poster, etc. There's Ancaster Natural Healing, and in Ancaster Natural Healing, obviously, we only deal with traditional methods of healing, where the modern world will often creep in. They'll send their university students there to study over there, those primitive African people, and they take the knowledge back, and then they say, "Oh, it's ours. Yeah, look what we've invented. Look what we have," and they'll package it in pharmaceutical companies, put it in a little package for you. You know, stand in a chemist and say, "Oh, can I have this?" Not knowing where the root of it's come from. It's all from yard. It's all from back home. So that's Ancaster Natural Healing. That's another branch. The other branch is the Umtam School of Kemetic Philosophy and Spirituality, and that's where you'll learn the subjects, that's the classes, that's the school. So the school consists of 3 basic classes: Medu, which is hieroglyphs in Greek. Right? And Medu covers the language. Now, the language for us is the cornerstone. We call it the cornerstone of education. Because if you think about it with language, that's where you get all your ideas and your concepts from. Without language, you can't communicate. So for us, it's really important to know the language. Even the language itself carries a vibration. So when you're trying to communicate, it carries that vibration. Even the language, my name's Kenneman. That's a name that's given to me after I'm graduated, but it's the earth that gives me that name. We do earth readings. And it's a long story, you'll get there, but but the earth is the one that actually gives you the name, because we're all a part of the earth. Right? Earth is the boss for us. All right? More so than society will give you the impression. You know, they'll say, look to the stars. You know, look to Mars, look to this planet, look to that planet. It's not that we don't appreciate that, but we know that Earth is where is our home. We can't survive without Earth. And Earth actually dictates what happens to you as well. It's the Earth that decides whether you live or you die, really. Whether you're needed now or not needed now. You know, because everyone has to, and everything has to fit in harmony with the rest of existence, and it's the Earth that has to decide that. You know, this one has to play that role, that one has to play that. Okay, but that's language. There's a lot more to talk about when it comes to the language, but that's part of it there. That's Medu. The other class that we do is Kaya Tibi, and that's what you call, like loosely you'd call that meditation and yoga. It's the original form of meditation and yoga. This is what gave everyone, you know, these concepts. But in Kaya Tibi, you'll learn about practical aspects of how to do purification and prayer, because we understand that you need to be pure in order to reach the divine world. For us, it's a natural understanding that we're corrupt, we carry corruption. So that means purification. It means being purifying yourself, cleaning yourself. If you're gonna communicate to the divine world, which is a pure source, as humans, we carry a certain amount of corruption, so we need to purify ourselves inside and outside as well. Right? But you'll learn that as well. There's aspects to that. There's many aspects to that. Lastly, we do a subject called Sunt, and Sunt is natural healing. You'll learn the traditional methods of healing, of diagnosing the body, assessing the body, and we only do with natural herbs. As I said, this is where they're getting where they've sourced ideas from, and herbs from, and they've packaged it and said, look, you know, but you'll learn about the original methods. Okay, so that's basically it there. I'm sure after this, there's you probably have loads of questions after this, but yeah, you'll have the opportunity to ask those questions later on. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Sister Catasta, who will then talk to you about the family and the rest of the and the important role that family plays. Okay, do I always thank you?
So Jai once again. First of all, let me acknowledge the divine world, and I want to acknowledge the world of the dead and ancestors. He said, my name is Katasta Okada. So first of all, I want to apologize. Our priest, Naba Idita Shinmira, would have been here today. There is an emergency and he's had to be dealing with someone. So we do the talks anyway. So as initiates, we're gonna do the talk today. He is in the UK, but he had to be dealing with someone. And Naba is the son who actually set the schools here in the UK.